Have you ever asked yourself, how much longer do I have to live? Not in a superstitious or fortune-telling way, but as a very real, very human question, especially once you've reached your 70s. After all the years spent caring for your family, building a career, raising your children, there comes a moment, often on a quiet afternoon, after an unusually long cough, or when you miss a step on the familiar staircase, when you begin to listen to your body. And you ask yourself, is my body trying to tell me something? What seems like an abstract question actually has a surprisingly concrete answer. Modern science has shown that the human body, especially after the age of 70, always sends out clear signals about which direction you're heading, towards a healthy, independent life for many more years, or into a stretch of fatigue, dependence, and a quiet withdrawal from the world. Sadly, most of us fail to recognize those signals, not because we don't care, but because the signs are usually subtle. They're not loud. They don't scream or cause immediate pain. They simply change little by little. Your steps become less steady, your sleep more fragmented, your grip on small objects less firm. These changes, though seemingly normal, are actually the most valuable messages your body is trying to send. And if you know how to listen, you'll have the chance to change so much. I've met many older people, some still healthy, sharp, walking every morning, cooking for themselves, and laughing with grandchildren every weekend. But there are also those who, just a few years ago, were still sprightly and now lie in bed, completely dependent on their children. All of them once stood at the same threshold of 70. The difference wasn't luck, it was awareness, who noticed the signs and who ignored them. An old friend of mine, Mr. David, once shared something I'll never forget. Old age didn't take everything from me. It only asked whether I was sharp enough to hold on to what matters most. And that's a life of independence, agency, and the ability to choose how I live. David is now 82. Every morning he walks around the lake, reads the newspaper, and calls friends to chat. His life isn't loud, but it's full of vitality. Meanwhile, Charles, his childhood best friend, quietly withdrew from life at the age of 74, not because of severe illness, but because he didn't realize his body was slowly losing essential functions. So where are you on that path? Don't wait until you get a worrying test result. Don't wait until you're hospitalized after a fall, because your body right now is whispering to you in its own language. And if you learn to listen, you'll gain a roadmap to a life in old age that is not just long, but joyful, healthy, and meaningful. In this video series, I will walk with you through 7 quiet yet powerful signs that can very accurately predict your longevity after age 70. These signs aren't found in medical records. They don't require machines. They come from the way you walk, how you sleep, your daily meals, your balance, the strength in your hands, your response to stress, and finally the relationships you nurture. This is not a checklist meant to make you anxious or afraid. It's a mirror for you to reflect on yourself. A gentle, honest journey for you and me to self-diagnose, not to judge, but to prepare, to fix what we still can, and to live the next chapter as fully as possible. And if you find what I'm sharing valuable, please hit the follow button, because the upcoming videos will help you deeply understand each specific sign, each small change that carries great power. I believe that when you understand what's going on inside your body, you will no longer feel helpless against aging. You will take charge and choose how you want to live. Follow the channel so you don't miss the next episodes. And if you're ready to take this journey with me, leave a comment. I'm ready to listen to my body. Try to remember the last time you went for a walk outside. Did you have to stop midway to catch your breath? Did your legs feel heavier than usual? Your breathing more labored? Your heartbeat pounding even though you'd only walked a few hundred meters? Or were you still walking steadily, not in a hurry, but without needing to rest? Don't underestimate those steps. They could be whispers from the future. Science has shown that walking speed in people over 70 is one of the most accurate indicators for predicting lifespan. Not blood pressure, not blood sugar, but something seemingly simple: your walking pace. Slowing down isn't just a sign of aging, it's a map of your body's overall strength. your muscles, heart, lungs, nerves, and full body coordination. And if your walking speed is gradually decreasing, there's a good chance your longevity is quietly ticking down with it. I once knew two men, David and Charles. They were close friends since working together in the Postal Service. Same birth year, same job, same simple lifestyle. But at 75, they started to diverge not in appearance, but in how they walked. David kept his habit of walking every morning, even if just around the block. He didn't walk fast, but he walked steadily. Back straight, steps stable, no need to hold walls, no breathlessness on gentle slopes. Charles, once just as strong, began turning down invitations for walks. He said he was tired, that he didn't have the energy anymore. When he walked, his steps were short, posture hunched, and after a few minutes, he had to stop to catch his breath. At first, people thought it was just old age. But not long after, Charles fell in his own yard while bending down to tie his shoe. The fall fractured his hip, sent him to the hospital for 3 weeks, and from then on, he never regained his ability to walk independently. Walking speed isn't just a habit, it's a measure of how well your body's systems are working. When you walk quickly, it means your heart is pumping efficiently, your lungs are delivering enough oxygen, your muscles and nerves are syncing together to maintain balance. But if you begin to slow down, if every step feels like a struggle, that's your body signaling that its systems are weakening. Some might say, I don't need to walk fast, I walk slowly but steadily. But slow is no longer steady if it comes with fatigue, imbalance, breathlessness, or the need to lean on walls. That's not a relaxed pace, that's your body falling behind. And when your body loses the ability to move freely, you begin to lose other things too. Your independence, your confidence, and even the simple joys you once took for granted, like walking with your grandchild, going to the morning market, or simply stepping outside to watch the clouds drift by. But here's the good news. Walking speed isn't a matter of luck, it's a matter of habit. David, my friend, wasn't always this strong. He once had knee pain. He once considered giving up his walking routine, but he started again, little by little, a few minutes each day, then gradually more. He practiced standing and sitting repeatedly, lifting his heels, balancing without support. And something remarkable happened. He felt lighter, breathed easier, and walked faster. No one had to push him, he just stayed consistent. There's a simple test you can do. Walk 10 meters at your normal pace. If it takes you more than 6 to 7 seconds, you're at high risk for cardiovascular and mobility problems. If you feel tired after a short distance, listen to your body. Don't pretend you're fine. Be honest with yourself, because that's the first gift you can give to your future. You don't need to be an athlete. You don't need to run, but you do need to walk steadily, walk with intention, walk each day as a declaration that you are still fully alive. Every step is a personal vow. I choose to keep moving. I choose to extend my life in my own way. And if you've read this far, I'd like to invite you to do one small thing. Try standing up and walking around your house. Feel your steps. Don't judge, just listen. If you find yourself walking slower than last year, if you need a break midway, don't worry, you're not alone. What matters is that you've started to notice. And from that awareness, change is possible. If you feel this is happening to you, or if you have a loved one who's beginning to slow down, leave a number 1 in the comments. I want to know that you're following this journey, and I'll continue walking alongside you in the upcoming episodes. And don't forget, hit the follow button to receive more videos that help you understand your body after 70. Every strong step forward is a step closer to a happy old age. You might think longevity lies in the heart, the lungs, or the brain. But few realize that the hands, the very hands you use to open a jar, carry groceries, or hold a loved one's hand, are actually a key indicator in measuring how long you might live. There's a simple medical test that researchers around the world have been using for years: grip strength. And the results have surprised the entire medical community. The stronger your grip, the longer you're likely to live. It's no coincidence. Grip strength reflects the overall power of your muscular system, circulation, nervous coordination, and even your ability to live independently day by day. Let me tell you the story of two friends, Thomas and Edward. Both 78 years old, once colleagues in a small mechanical workshop in northern England. Since retiring, Thomas has kept a light routine every morning, mowing the lawn, washing his car, tinkering with loose screws around the house as a hobby. Edward, on the other hand, avoids physical activity. Since retirement, he spends most of his time watching TV, reading, and relaxing. People often say, Edward lives a carefree life, nothing to worry about. But that comfort has quietly taken something precious from him, the strength in his hands. One day at the market, Thomas opened a jar of honey with one hand and laughed. "This one's tight, but still doable." Edward looked on and tried to do the same with a bottle of mineral water. He twisted and turned until his face turned red, but the cap didn't budge. "Seems like my hands have really weakened," he said, half joking, half serious. But it wasn't just a joke. A week later, Edward stumbled slightly on his porch steps. Reflexively, he reached out his hand to break the fall, but his grip wasn't strong enough. What seemed like a minor fall ended in a wrist injury that left him immobile for nearly a month. Meanwhile, Thomas, not a fitness buff by any means, continued gardening, climbing stairs, and lifting 5-kilo bags of rice without issue. The difference wasn't luck. It was in every jar he opened, every bucket he carried, every daily task he chose or didn't choose to do. Weak grip strength isn't just about trouble opening containers. It's a sign that your entire muscle mass is declining. And when muscle disappears, you don't just get weaker, you become more prone to falls, slower recovery, osteoporosis, and losing your independence. You may no longer manage housework, cook, or hold a kettle, and gradually you begin to need help for even the smallest of tasks. In major studies, people with weaker grip strength are found to have a higher risk of heart disease, dementia, and early death, even when no major illness is diagnosed. Why? Because the hands are often the first place to reflect systemic weakness. When your nervous system slows down, circulation diminishes, and muscles atrophy, your hands are the first to show it. But that's also why, if you notice it early and begin to rebuild strength, you can unlock a path toward a healthier old age. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need expensive equipment. A tennis ball, a small bag of rice, or simply more frequent use of your hands is enough to start. You can squeeze a soft object while watching TV, wring out a cleaning cloth, open jars, fold laundry, all daily activities. But if you do them mindfully, you're training your hands. More importantly, you're sending a message to your body. I'm not ready to let go. I want to remain in control of my life. Thomas once told me something profound. I'm not afraid of my hands getting weak. I'm afraid of not using them. And that's true for more people than you'd think. Degeneration doesn't come from age, it comes from disuse. Your body, if not asked to do something, will conserve energy by gradually shutting down its capacity. But if you keep using it, keep challenging it a little each day, your body will respond with renewed strength. Here's a simple test you can do right now. Hold an object weighing about 1-2 kilos in your hand. How many seconds can you hold it? Do your hands tremble? Can you open that old jar in the kitchen? Don't underestimate this, because the ability to hold on with your hands is the ability to hold on to a life of freedom and independence. If you feel your hands are getting weaker than before, or if you struggle with tasks that used to be easy, don't worry. What matters is that you've noticed and are ready to begin again. And if you've read this far, leave a number 2 in the comments so I know you're following this journey. I'll keep sharing more signs that you may have never noticed, but that carry deep meaning for your longevity and quality of life. And don't forget to hit follow so you'll receive more videos like this one. A strong grip is a sign of an empowered life. Start today with one small action and a big commitment. Have you ever paid attention to how you get out of bed, how you step down a porch step, or simply how you turn to reach for something behind you? These small movements, if they make you feel unsteady, wobbly, or in need of support, just to stay upright, could be your body sending a crucial signal. Your sense of balance is declining. And according to medical researchers, This is one of the most accurate predictors of longevity after the age of 70. There's a simple test. Stand on one leg for 10 seconds without holding on to anything, without wobbling, without letting the other foot touch the ground. Can you do it? If not, don't brush it off. Because this test, which may seem like a simple game, has revealed a strong link between balance ability and mortality risk within the next 7 years for people over 70. Sounds serious? It is, and it's incredibly precise. I've seen this firsthand in the story of two women, Grace and Helen. Both in their 70s, former primary school teachers, lovers of gardening, and nearly identical in lifestyle for many years. But slowly their paths diverged, beginning with one small thing, their ability to maintain balance. Grace kept her habit of doing yoga every morning. Not complex poses, just a few minutes standing on one leg, breathing deeply, and tuning into her body. She told me that standing still for a few seconds each day was like signing a personal contract. I'm still in control of this body. Helen, on the other hand, changed. After her husband passed away, she lived alone, moved less. She didn't enjoy exercise and often said, just walking around the house is enough. Then one morning, stepping into her garden, her foot caught a small rug by the door. The fall seemed minor but fractured her hip. She was bedridden for nearly 2 months, then required a walker. From someone who once cooked, cleaned, and gardened with ease, Helen became dependent, all because of a slip. What struck me most was that just weeks earlier, Helen had told me, "Lately I feel a bit wobbly when standing too long, but I guess it's normal." And that right there, that belief, is where the trouble begins. Many people think loss of balance is a natural part of aging, but the truth is it's not normal. It's a warning sign that the coordination between your nervous system, muscles, and inner ear is starting to falter. Balance is a delicate symphony between your brain, eyes, inner ears, and large muscle groups. When you stand on one foot, you're asking all those systems to work together, sensing body weight, adjusting joint positions, aligning your posture, and controlling your breath. If one link is weak, the whole system begins to sway. As your balance declines, your risk of falling skyrockets. And for older adults, a fall isn't just a bruise or fracture. It's the beginning of a cascade of losses. The loss of mobility, independence, confidence, and in many cases, the ability to fully recover. Statistics show that 1 in 3 adults over 65 will fall each year, and over half of them never return to their previous level of function. But like many signs in this video, this isn't the end. It's a wake-up call, a chance to change course. Grace told me that when she first started practicing balance, she couldn't hold her position longer than 3 seconds. But she trained every day, gradually increasing. After a few weeks, she could stand for 10 seconds. After a month, she could stand on one leg and touch her opposite foot without losing balance. No machines, no help. Just a small space in her living room, a yoga mat, and quiet determination. Balance isn't just physical, it's psychological. It's the feeling that you still have control. It's your body's way of saying, I haven't given up. You can start with simple exercises. Stand on one leg while brushing your teeth, walk heel to toe in a straight line, or close your eyes and feel your weight shift for a few seconds. If done regularly, these movements don't just improve your balance, they enhance coordination, build confidence, and reduce anxiety about falling. And if you're thinking, I'm too old to start now, remember that Helen thought the same. But just a few weeks of no training, and she lost her stability, followed by months of being confined to bed, lonely and discouraged. Meanwhile, Grace, with just a few short minutes each day, still washes dishes, shops for groceries, tends to her plants, and holds on to the pride of independence. So where do you stand between those two paths? If you feel wobbly when turning, often need to hold on to furniture to rise, or hesitate to climb stairs alone, it may be time to spend a few minutes each day rebuilding your stability. And if you've read this far, I invite you to try a small test. Stand on one leg and count to 10. If you can do it, fantastic, keep it up. If not, congratulations, because you've just discovered something you can change. Leave a number 3 in the comments if this resonates with you. That way I know you're here, you're listening, and we're still walking this path together. And don't forget, hit the follow button so you don't miss the next videos. Every second you stay balanced today is one more day of freedom tomorrow. Choose balance, not just for your body, but for your dignity and self-worth. There's an old saying I didn't truly understand until much later in life. Sleep is the only elixir of longevity we can give ourselves every single day. And it's true. When we're young, sleep often feels like something we can take for granted. We fall asleep the moment our head hits the pillow. Going to bed late, sleeping short hours, waking up startled, none of it seems to matter. But after age 70, everything changes. The body no longer easily drifts into deep sleep, and those restless nights often mark the beginning of a quiet, unexpected decline. I once met George, a 76-year-old man who goes to bed early and rises consistently at 5 a.m. He doesn't use sleeping pills, nor does he need any sleep aids. "I've trained myself into a gentle rhythm," he said. "I turn off the lights at 9 p.m. I don't watch TV after dinner. I read under warm light and always keep the window slightly open to let the night air in." And the result? George sleeps deeply, doesn't wake up in the middle of the night, and greets each morning alert, enjoying breakfast and starting the day by gardening, reading the paper, or chatting with neighbors. His sleep is the foundation of his energy and mental clarity, rare qualities at that age. On the other hand, Stanley, George's longtime friend, lives quite differently. He stays up late, often watching the news until midnight, sleeping in a pitch-dark, tightly shut room. Sleep comes to him reluctantly, and within 2 hours, he's wide awake, shaken by a bad dream, or startled by a hallway noise. Stanley told me that some nights he wakes up 3 times, and each time feels like life force has been drained from him. Although he logs nearly 7 hours of total sleep, he never feels rested, and it shows: sunken eyes, a flat voice, and signs of short-term memory decline. Do you see yourself in one of these stories? After 70, sleep isn't just a need. It's a mirror reflecting your entire state of health, from brain function to heart, from immune strength to mental well-being. Shallow, fragmented sleep isn't just insomnia. It's a sign your body is struggling to carry out its essential self-repair. During deep sleep, the brain doesn't shut off. In fact, it gets to work cleaning house. Harmful toxins like amyloid, a major cause of Alzheimer's, are flushed out efficiently only during deep sleep. Meanwhile, the rest of the body uses this time to rebuild, heal, and strengthen the immune system. Without enough deep rest, your body has no time to repair itself. Over time, memory fades, reaction times slow, blood pressure climbs, and moods darken for reasons you can't quite explain. Stanley once asked me, "Why am I tired all day but can't sleep at night?" The answer was hidden in his lifestyle and his lack of self-awareness. He ate dinner late, drank tea after 9 p.m., and used his phone until he could barely keep his eyes open. Blue light from the screen, undigested food, and an overstimulated brain, these are the silent enemies of restful sleep in old age. George, on the other hand, taught me a deeper lesson. Sleep doesn't come from exhaustion, it comes from preparation. He never waits until he's drained. Each evening is a slow, mindful ritual, dimming the lights early, playing soft music, soaking his feet in warm water, and writing a few lines of gratitude in his journal. "That's how I clear the path for sleep to arrive," he told me. If you're struggling with sleep, don't brush it off as just another part of aging, because there's a lot you can do to change it, starting today. Begin by observing: what time do you go to bed? Do you often wake up in the middle of the night? When you wake up in the morning, do you feel refreshed or more tired? These questions aren't just for tracking, they are your body speaking to you. And if you listen closely, you'll realize small changes can shift an entire biological rhythm back into balance. I firmly believe that a person over 70 who still sleeps naturally without pills or devices is someone who still holds on to the deepest essence of health: recovery. It's the one thing money can't buy, family can't provide, and no doctor can prescribe better than your own habits. If your sleep no longer feels the way it used to, if you're constantly fatigued during the day, feel mentally foggy, or emotionally low without a clear cause, perhaps it's time to look at how you sleep rather than reaching for things to stay awake. Leave a number 4 in the comments if you've been dealing with restless sleep, frequent waking, or shallow rest. I want to know you're following this journey, and I'll keep walking with you as we continue learning to listen to our bodies. And don't forget, hit follow so you don't miss the next videos. Sleep is the root. When your sleep is healed, the rest of your life becomes lighter, brighter, and full of vitality. There's a kind of loss that few people notice, not memory loss, not insomnia, not even the loss of mobility. It's the gradual loss of appetite. When meals start to feel bland, when dishes you once loved become routine and joyless, when you begin eating less without knowing why, it's not just a lack of hunger. It could be your body whispering something quietly sad, "I'm getting weaker." After 70, appetite isn't just about food. It's a subtle signal that tells us whether your internal organs are still functioning smoothly. When you no longer feel hungry, lose interest in food, or get full unusually fast, it could mean your digestive system is slowing down, hormones are out of balance, or organs like the liver, pancreas, and intestines are no longer operating efficiently. Losing appetite is losing life, little by little. I once met Linda, an elderly woman living alone in a sun-filled house surrounded by flowers. She cooked every day, not fancy meals, but thoughtful ones. A bowl of vegetable soup, sticky rice with mung beans, a few slices of ripe banana. She told me, "I don't eat much, but I eat well. Every bite is a reminder to be grateful that I still can." And you'd be surprised to see her skin glowing, her eyes bright, and her hands still strong enough to carry a small bag from the market each morning. By contrast, Mary, her neighbor, had recently started skipping meals. At first, it was just slightly smaller portions. Then breakfast became just a glass of water. Lunch? Not feeling hungry. Dinner? A few bites, then she pushed her bowl away. When asked, she said, "I don't know why, but I just don't enjoy food anymore, and eating makes me tired." Her body began to shrink, her shoulders hollowed, her cheekbones more pronounced, her hands thin and veiny. But what worried me most wasn't her appearance. It was the dullness in her eyes, the absence of vitality, as if her body was quietly withdrawing from the world. The desire to eat is a sign of life. When you eat with appetite, it means your body still has the strength to digest, absorb, convert, and store energy. But when hunger fades, when you get full quickly, or food becomes irrelevant, it means your systems are running on minimal mode, like a dying flame. In older adults, loss of appetite rarely comes all at once. It fades day by day, like an out-of-tune instrument. The causes can range from diminished taste and smell, mild digestive issues, hormonal shifts, to simply emotional factors like loneliness and depression. Many elderly people who live alone stop cooking altogether because there's no one to share the meal with. A table with no one across from you becomes just another forgettable routine. But the consequences are not small. Without proper nutrition, the body starts to break down its own muscles for fuel. This leads to weakness, fatigue, higher risk of falls, slower healing, and a weaker immune system. Memory blurs, and most tragically, the will to live starts to fade like a lamp running out of oil. What I admire most about Linda is that she didn't wait until she was hospitalized to care about her meals. She still went to the market even if she only bought a single squash or a handful of greens. She chose fresh food, washed and chopped it herself, seasoned it by instinct. She ate alone but always laid out the meal with care. A tablecloth, a small flower by her tray. "Because I'm dining with myself," she said. And that's what I hope you'll do too. You don't need to eat a lot, but you do need to want to eat. Ask yourself, do I get full faster than before? Is there a dish I used to love that now tastes bland? Do I often skip meals without feeling hungry? Have I lost weight without trying? If the answer is yes, it may be time to reevaluate your relationship with food. Start with something simple. Visit the market once a week. Choose a fruit you love. Cook a dish you used to enjoy. Invite a friend for lunch. Or simply set your table nicely, even if it's just you. When you eat with presence and gratitude, your body will respond. If you've noticed yourself eating less or feeling indifferent toward meals lately, leave a number 5 in the comments. I want to know you're still following this journey, and I truly believe that once you begin paying attention to what you put in your body again, life will return slowly but surely. And don't forget, hit follow to continue this journey with me through upcoming videos. A nourishing meal doesn't just feed the body, it keeps the spirit alive. In every spoonful of rice, every bite of fruit, and every gentle breath after a satisfying meal. There's something you can't see, can't touch, won't find in blood tests, and can't measure with machines, yet it can quietly shorten your life after 70. That thing is stress, not the loud, dramatic kind you had when you were younger, like traffic jams or arguments with your boss, but the silent kind, the kind that seeps into your body day after day, like a colorless, odorless toxin. And the most frightening part? After a while, you don't even realize it's there. I vividly remember Peter, a 76-year-old man living in a quiet, tidy apartment. There was nothing particularly troubling in his life. His children were grown, his finances stable, his health steady. Yet, he often furrowed his brows. He struggled with sleep. He grew irritated over small things, a late phone call, a misplaced item, a sudden rain shower that kept him from his walk. On the surface, he seemed meticulous. But deep down, I could feel an unspoken restlessness building inside him day by day. In contrast, Michael, his friend of the same age, lived in a smaller home with fewer amenities. But every time I saw him, he smiled and asked about others before talking about himself. He knew what to hold on to and what to let go. When his wife passed away 3 years earlier, he didn't cry much, but he began journaling. Every morning he breathed deeply on his balcony. Every week, he called an old friend. I've never once seen him upset over small inconveniences. Same age, similar life events. But two very different qualities of life, all because of how they handle stress. Modern science now confirms what many of us have suspected. Chronic stress is one of the most dangerous factors for older adults. When stress is unmanaged, the body continuously produces cortisol, the stress hormone. Elevated cortisol levels weaken the immune system, raise blood pressure, increase the risk of heart disease and diabetes, and can even shrink key parts of the brain related to memory and emotion. People who live with long-term anxiety often suffer from insomnia, appetite loss, fatigue, cognitive decline, and higher risk of depression. And tragically, many people over 70 live in this state without realizing it, because they've gotten used to enduring. Peter once said, "I'm not a worrier. I just can't sit still when things don't go my way." But this need for perfection, for things to follow a certain plan, kept him constantly wound up. No one pressured him, he pressured himself. Michael was different. When his washing machine broke, he called a repairman and read a book while waiting. When he forgot an appointment, he apologized and moved on. When it rained, instead of walking outside, he stood under the eaves, listened to the rain, and treated it as a new experience. He didn't have any special training, he just chose to live gently with himself. Stress management isn't about who's better. It's a skill you can learn and practice, and it becomes even more essential after 70. Because as we age, we no longer have the reserves to push through like before. Every night of lost sleep, every moment of unnecessary anger, every hidden worry, these are tiny doses of poison drip-fed into the body. You can start by observing yourself. Have you been feeling tired lately for no clear reason? Do little things upset you more than they used to? Do you lie awake thinking about the past? If so, it might be time to pause to let your body unwind and your mind begin to heal. Michael once gave me a piece of advice I've kept ever since. Every day, do one thing that makes you feel lighter, not happier, not more accomplished, just lighter. It could be 3 deep breaths when you wake up, a walk in the park without your phone, writing down one thing you're grateful for today. These things cost nothing, require no energy, yet they can save you from countless heavy days ahead. If your mind feels stretched thin like a tightrope, if you're often weary even when everything seems fine, don't just keep enduring. Learn to release, to breathe, to forgive, starting with yourself. And if you feel you're in this space right now, leave a number 6 in the comments. That's your quiet way of saying you're ready to change. and I'll continue walking with you through the signs that follow. Don't forget, hit the follow button so you won't miss the next videos. Because a peaceful mind, after all, not only helps you live longer, but helps you live deeper, lighter, and more fully with every day you have left. There's a kind of nourishment you won't find in vitamins or supplements. It has no color, no flavor, no label, and comes in no bottle. Yet it holds the power to help you live longer, feel happier, and recover more quickly from illness. That special nourishment is connection. After 70, many people begin to slow down. But slowing down doesn't mean shutting down. As relationships begin to shrink, friends pass away, children get busy, neighbors move out, the real danger isn't the silence around you, it's the silence inside. You no longer have someone to talk to, no one to ask how you're doing, and slowly you stop having anything to look forward to. I vividly remember Joyce, an 80-year-old woman living alone on the third floor of a small building with no elevator. Every morning she opened her window, watered her plants, and made a phone call. Sometimes to her niece far away, sometimes to an old high school friend, sometimes to someone she'd met in an online baking class. The calls weren't always long. Some lasted just a few minutes, some were simply morning greetings. But Joyce kept this habit like a sacred ritual. Each person I call is a thread that keeps me tied to the world. In contrast, Ruth, once a lively soul, began to retreat after her husband passed. She stopped calling anyone. She didn't answer when others reached out. She'd say she was tired, busy, or had nothing to say. At first, loved ones tried to stay in touch, but like any relationship left untended, the connections faded. Ruth began to live quietly, with no one knowing her daily routine, no one inviting her out, and she didn't want to go anyway. Her once bright eyes turned solemn. She ate less, slept more, but not deeply. When she caught a mild illness, she told no one, didn't want to bother anyone. But when I visited, she sat silently for a long time, just holding my hand as if it had been far too long since she last felt a warm hand beside hers. Science calls this phenomenon social isolation, one of the most powerful predictors of reduced longevity in older adults. People who are isolated, who lack regular social interaction, are at higher risk of heart disease, faster cognitive decline, and even mortality rates comparable to those who smoke. Why? Because human beings don't just need oxygen to survive, we need one another to want to live. When you talk to someone, your brain releases serotonin and oxytocin hormones tied to feelings of happiness, trust, and emotional safety. The feeling of being heard, being seen, being included, it's the strongest medicine against depression, anxiety, and mental aging in the elderly. You don't need dozens of friends, just a few meaningful connections, someone you can call when you're down, text when you're happy, check in with when you're well, and notify when you're not. A short phone call, a thoughtful message, a cup of tea together, small actions that can extend your life and remind you that you still belong. Joyce once told me, "I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid of dying in people's hearts while I'm still alive." And she didn't let that happen. Each of her friends was a story, a reason to wake up, a seed of life she planted in her own world. If you're living alone, or if you've noticed yourself talking to others less and less, maybe it's time to reconnect. Call an old friend, write a letter by hand, join an online class, message someone you haven't seen in a while. You might be surprised to find they've been waiting for someone to reach out to. If you're feeling lonely, not because no one's around, but because no one really listens, leave a number 7 in the comments. I want to know you're still here, still present, and I want to remind you, the moment you open your heart, the world is still waiting for you. And if you found these words meaningful, hit the follow button. The upcoming videos will help you continue this journey of connected, purposeful living, even as your hair turns silver, your steps slow down, but your heart still has so much it longs to share. You and I have walked together through 7 signs, 7 quiet yet powerful messages that your body, after the age of 70, is sending you every day. From the pace of your steps to the quality of your sleep, from the strength in your hands to the simplicity of a meal, from your ability to stay balanced to how you cope with worry, And finally, the relationships you nurture, each sign is not a warning, but an opportunity. An opportunity to pause, to listen, and to choose a different way of living, deeper, lighter, and more intentional. You may be noticing 3, 4, or even all of these signs in yourself, and that's perfectly okay, because you're still aware enough to recognize them, and there's still time to begin again. Old age doesn't arrive with a bent back or silver hair. It begins when we stop believing that change is possible. But if you're still reading these words, then I know you haven't given up. Choose one small change today. Just one. Maybe walk 5 minutes more. Maybe make a phone call. Maybe set your meal more mindfully. Stand on one foot while brushing your teeth, or write down 3 things you're grateful for. You don't need to change your entire life. You just need to change today. And tomorrow will begin to change with it. Don't wait until a doctor tells you it's time to change. Change now while you still have the power to choose. Because the difference between a long life and a fulfilled life is not how many years you live, but how you live those remaining years. If you've recognized even one sign in yourself, share it by commenting the number that applies to you. I will read each number, each message you share, because this isn't just a video. This is a community where older adults are understood, heard, and inspired to live meaningfully every single day. And if you found this series helpful, please hit the follow button. The upcoming content will not only help you live healthier, but live more fully in every thought, every step, and every connection. We'll keep walking this journey like 2 friends heading together through the later chapters of life, with our eyes looking forward, not back. Old age is not an ending. It's the next chapter where you get to rewrite how you want to live. And I hope that chapter begins today.